Gruesome Magazine.
Hello, once again, I'm your host, Doc Rotten, and this is Gruesome Magazine, where we review the very latest in streaming and video on-demand horror movies. Each week, my co-host Jeff Mohr, Crystal Cleveland, Dave Dreher, Christopher G. Mohr, and I will take a look at various spooky, scary, and gory genre offerings. Tonight, we're reviewing VHS 85, streaming on Shudder beginning October 6, 2023. Back to found footage. Ooh, boy. All right. Let me introduce my crew, starting off with Jeff Mohr. Jeff, how you doing, sir?
I'm good. And I had a VHS machine in 1985.
No Betamax for you.
You guys probably all did too. But...
What's Betamax, though? What's that?
Oh, that was the original. The big battle between formats.
That was
Sony,
a big competitive
Betamax.
thing. Yeah.
Was there a battle, though? Because I don't think most people know about Betamax.
Well, the people that were around then when they came
during
out,
that time, you knew about it, but it just...
The Betamax was supposed to be better, but
really,
Sony wouldn't license the technology to anybody else. So the only Betamax machine you could buy was Sony, whereas VHS gave it away to everybody.
Yeah,
whoever came up with that.
And one.
There you have.
Yep. Also joining us this week is Crystal Cleveland, the Living Dead Girl. How you doing?
I'm excited about this. like it's I love my anthologies, and I particularly love VHS. And this is an interesting one. This one's 85. 85.
Okay. Also joining us is award-winning filmmaker Christopher G. Mohr.
Let me see that shirt. What's that? Oh yeah.
There's your daddy.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah, I'm doing well. And I had a VHS camera. I had a VCR, had all that stuff. Oh, not VCR.
Wow,
VHS player.
Camera.
Yeah. Like they were big too, right? Like, I wonder if I have any tapes.
Yeah, it's kind of funny how like as a filmmaker, I probably couldn't get into film festivals back then, but now so many years later, now you can create a film using VHS technology, which is very frustrating. How dare you?
He's having flashback.
I know.
Years here. All right. Also joining us and rounding out the crew is the one and only. Look at the camera, Dave. Dave.
No. Why would you have him do that?
Why not?
Creepy. That was so creepy.
Yeah, that's the whole idea. We were going for creepy.
Go, Dave.
I love
Dave.
How you doing, Dave? How you doing?
Hey, I can remember my dad bought like one of the very first VCRs when they came out. It was like $999 Radio Shack something or other. It was roughly the size of a washing machine. And
did it?
Yeah, it was. But I mean, it was just the coolest thing ever, right? I mean,
yeah,
there was no cooler technology.
My dad's first one, same here, was a top loader. This is a top.
Yeah, that's what this one was. Yeah, it popped up. Yeah. That's how his was. He still has one in his bedroom. I was at the house the other day. And
see, so y'all have VHS thing. That's cool.
I do.
Yeah. At one point in time, I had like 1,400ed video cassettes at one point in time.
Oh
yeah, so I have
just like get bad.
I have there's also DVD rot too. So
there's
but I have a whole box in one of my closets of all my things where I had 2 VCRs and I would record copies of movies, and you put it like, I guess is it EP mode, and you could put like 2 or 3. So I've got Naked Gun. I've got all these things on tape that if I ever wanted to pull it out, I could probably watch it.
It's kind of like the old mixtape with the cassettes. You could get like
or you tape it off the television and you try to stop it when the commercial. Which is, again,
I also when I started renting,
it was
when I was
thing.
renting videos at first, I would rent a machine even though I had one. And that was I played it on the machine I rented.
You pirate it
on the machine.
Yeah, that's why.
So remember, then they came up with that dupe guard, and you couldn't do that because the picture would fade in and out.
Yeah,
and they made a little device
I must have quit
between
by
the two
then.
and control that.
Yeah.
That's
why when you watch movies like this, when it goes in between stuff, you remember when you recorded over something and you get like some footage from something else pops up.
Of course, Dave and I probably taped Headbangers Ball every weekend, right? From MTV.
Yeah, of course. Don Kirshner's rock concert. You had to get that one on there too.
Yep. There you go. All right. Well, we have a movie to review after all this VHS discussion, and that is VHS 85. We're going to start off giving you our first impressions. That first impression will be spoiler free. And then we'll dive into a discussion about the film. And there are spoilers to be had, believe it or not. And then we'll wrap things up with our score 1 to 5 and our favorite scene. Oh boy. And we hope you enjoy not only this review, but many others that we have on the site. And if you look hard, we probably could find reviews of all the other VHS movies because we have been reviewing them. But we'd love to hear from you. And please hit the like, subscribe, share with a friend buttons. I totally put myself off track. That's so wonderful. Each click is free and easy to do. And each click will also help us find more horror fans just like you. All right, you guys are like, shut up and do this. All right, let's look at the card and get going. All right, VHS 85, available streaming on Shudder beginning October 6, 2023. The synopsis is: unveiled through a made-for-TV documentary, 5 tales of found footage horror emerged to take viewers on a terrifying journey into the grim underbelly of the 1980s. Directed by David Bruckner, one episode called Total Copy. Scott Derrickson, Dreamkill. Natasha Kermani, TKNOGD.
TKNOGD.
Oh, okay.
There
Now,
it is.
We've been trying to figure that out, Crystal.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you. Mike P. Nelson did No Wake. And Gigi Saul Guerrero did God of Death. Written by C. Robert Cargill, Zoe Cooper, Scott Derrickson, Evan Dixon, Mike P. Nelson, and Gigi Saul Guerrero. Cast includes Freddie Rodriguez, James Ransone, Jordan Belfi, Danny Delty. No, there's no L. DT.
That's not too bad. That's
no, I thought there was an L in there. It's just 2 T's. Chelsea Grant and Alex Gaelic. I got a
You did
on that
awesome.
That was one of your better ones,
the best.
Very nice.
I think you've
very
ever
nice.
done.
You get an applause for that one. Very nice.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, there weren't any
All
Japanese in there.
No, you give all those to Jeff. All right. Sigh. All right, let's get into this. What is our first impression? Dave, you're up first.
Oh, me, I'm first again. Seems like I'm always first.
Yes,
I enjoyed this quite a bit, actually. I only had one complaint, and I think, Doc, I texted you as I got done watching it. It just, this, for whatever reason, seemed incredibly freaking long to me. I don't know why, but I mean, I enjoyed the stories. I really did. They just seemed to drag on forever. What was the runtime on this thing? It had to be close to 2 hours.
Yeah, hour and 50 minutes, I think.
Yeah. So that was, honestly, that was my only complaint, but I loved the effects. I loved the stories. You know, I kind of got lost in it a couple different times because it was almost like at one point they had like a wraparound inside the wraparound, because we kind of went from the people in the boat, and then we kind of left that story, and then we came back to the people in the boat because it was part of another story later down.
Mm-hmm.
And that kind of confused me for a minute. I was like, wait, did I fall asleep? Because I do that. I fall asleep. but so I don't know. This one was a little bit herky-jerky for me and a little bit long, but I still enjoyed it.
All right. I like that. Crystal, you're up next. What was your first impression of VHS 85?
Okay, so I enjoy most anthologies because, you know, you may not like one, but you'll like another. Oddly enough, this one is different. I actually liked every single segment I liked, but there's not a standout segment for me, which is odd. Usually I really like one, and in this one I just liked them all. So I don't know how I feel about that. Actually, overall it was all enjoyable, and I did like that they started all, you know, with the lake one, that they brought it back because it was confusing with the Roman numerals and the 7 and stuff. I agree with Dave. I feel like a couple of the segments were too long. There would have been easy places that they could have cut it and like really shortened it up. Oh gosh, I wish I could remember which one it was. One of them was cut expertly, but it was nice and quick and to the point and done. So like I said, I thought they were all done well. They all fit together well. I feel like there was kind of a theme. I don't really understand completely the 7, but you have a few God episodes, and I thought that was interesting. I think they were all kind of different takes on fun kills. This one felt gory in most of the episodes too. Like sometimes some of them aren't like gory. You just kind of maybe see a creature, but all of them had some decent gore in this one. That I really approve of. So overall, I obviously I liked it. Is this going to be my favorite VHS? No. And my favorite segment of VHS is still that one that oh God, I don't know his name.
And the second one,
the Asian dude who has the blow my mind. That will probably forever be. Yeah, that'll probably always be my favorite. But this is a very solid entry into the VHS.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Christopher G. Mohr, what was your first impression of VHS 85?
I wouldn't call this solid.
This is interesting.
This is ghost-like.
No,
I like elements of this, and I think there are some interesting things that happen and how some of the things play out. But this is my least favorite VHS entry.
Oh, that's interesting.
It has elements that I mean, most of the elements are just the endings. Most of them, to be honest, the endings are kind of cool for some of them, but I feel like there's a lot of repetition, and I agree. I think that's what makes it so long. There's a lot of repetitive stuff that happens in about every segment, and I think, and also I hate to say this, but maybe this is a weird analogy, but I feel like the VHS movies are running out of tape, if you know what I mean. Yeah. They're getting it's SP mode, and it's the very end of the tape. They're kind of running out of ideas for stuff. But they still find weird and interesting situations for these to happen, which are always the kind of way. I mean, because you can only do so much with it, but and I think they all try to do their own interesting take, but for me, this was just okay, and just those moments where, like I said, some of the endings were kind of weird and fun, or whether it just be the effects or, I mean, I will say I kind of like the No Wake, how that kind of plays out, because it goes in one way and it goes somewhere else. I'm like, okay, that's interesting. But still, I felt like it was just, I agree with Crystal. I don't really have a standout.
Yeah.
I mean, well, maybe No Wake, just because of how the story kind of plays out weirdly, but none of it really plays out perfectly to where it all kind of, maybe it appropriately blends into each other. But for the most part, this was a very, I hate to say it, kind of a bland entry in this franchise for me.
Well, there's a turn of a tide there. All right. Jeff Mohr, sir, what was your first impression of VHS 85?
I liked it. I found a couple of them a little bit confusing, but I am okay with how it ended up. So anyway, I liked them. I liked the No Wake / Ambrosia one, and it was a little confusing how it was split up, but I was like, I'm glad I caught when it connected. Well, I guess it was pretty obvious when they showed something on the wall with the family, but I love what happened with No Wake. I thought that was just surprising as hell, because at first, I'm thinking,
so weird. You're like,
hell?
We're like, we have no idea.
Well, that ain't realistic.
Yeah.
Gigi saw Guerrero's. I liked where it went, but I was kind of confused as what was going on until a certain point. Plus, it helped me to look up what this god was. So, I really liked Dreamkill as well. I thought that was a neat idea.
That was cool. Yeah.
And I liked the actors that were in it. That was the only one that, for me anyway, had recognizable actors. So anyway, in total copy, I liked the idea, but it was a little it was a little hard to follow, maybe because it was split up. It was sort of the
it's the wraparound,
yeah, it didn't really hold things together, but it was alternating in segments, and I feel like I missed something at the beginning, but towards the end, wow, holy crap. It got real kind of Lovecraftian. So anyway,
that it did.
So I enjoyed it.
Yeah,
I had fun.
You had fun. I'm a sucker for these. You know, I like found footage and these anthology films.
Yes.
However, I agree with both Crystal and Christopher. I feel like all the entries are solid in their own right. Solid is probably too strong, but there's no real stinker in this, and I like each one individually. But I do feel like it's this franchise might be stretching itself a little thin, and I'm not sure. I don't find this to be its strongest entry. That's for sure.
For sure, yeah.
It isn't. I'm not selling it. I'm trying not to say it's all that bad, because I would definitely welcome another VHS anthology episode. Let's do it.
Of course. Yeah.
But I did find this one a little more tedious. The stories didn't engage me as deeply as some of the others in the other series have, but at the same time, each one had its own element to entertain me. So I am torn about this. In the end, I enjoyed myself, and I did enjoy certain segments. I did enjoy certain segments over others, but not extraordinarily so. Not so much so that I could say, that there's that there's such a wide stretch. Like some of them, there's like, ooh, that one was a real stinker, and then right next to it would be this really, probably the most spectacular one in the whole series. So it's interesting, but you know me, I like my found footage films. So
I do too. Like I may be being kind to this, but honestly, when I say solid, I just mean like I didn't dislike any of them. I really truly didn't, and so that's pretty good.
Well, and I'm probably the most negative of everybody, but I don't hate the movie, and I don't, and I still think it's got. I will say most of the endings of all of them are really great. Even if you don't like the copy one, that ending has a level of humor to it that's funny, and I think compared to, I think the problem is we're having to compare it to these other entries that always have like that one or two. They're like, oh my god, that's so crazy.
Can't believe it happened, right?
Yeah. And I think this one it didn't really have those big. Didn't have any really big wow. I mean, the only big wow the only big thing that wow part for me, if I really call it a wow, is I did kind of like the no wake stuff, to where I was like, what's happening here? I was like, okay. And then when you get that third layer, like, oh crap, what is that? And I think that I kind of like that because the first part's so simple, and it's like, that's it.
Yeah.
Like,
but
okay,
it
that's
ended so abruptly though.
And I kind of expected to show up again, but I think just the twist idea of what they did.
Oh my god! I just realized what happened to the squirrel. The squirrel wasn't dead. Sorry. Sorry. Yeah. All of a sudden, because I kept thinking, why did the squirrel? Sorry, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt you, but
also someone that loves pun names for horror films. No Wake.
Yeah, it's funny.
Perfection. Cute. Because if you go in that lake and you die, you don't die. You don't get awake. And so I love that aspect of it. But I think for me, that was the only part. I mean, granted, again, each one of them had a little bit of that slight wow. I mean, the technology thing, just that when they pull that helmet up, like, oh crap,
eyes move.
Visuals of that's cool. Sick. I mean, or even Gigi saw Guerrero's, I mean,
love
although I kept thinking, why are you going lower?
Yeah,
if there's earthquakes
me
happening, I would not go
too.
lower. So I was like, I kept getting mad. But I think that one, it's like once you get to the crazy stuff underneath, that gets kind of interesting. So each one of them had that kind of element to where Dreamkill, as much as I love Derrickson and C. Robert Cargill, I feel like it was so influenced by Black Phone to where they're even like, because in Black Phone, when she's having images, they do it in a different film style. And that felt very influenced by that. So it felt a little too like they kind of took stuff from Black Phone to create that. And that kind of threw me off. But still, that had good elements, and especially how the ending played out. So again, I think these, if I want to compare it to the other stuff, at least a lot of these had really kind of cool endings to some degree, or cool twists, and that really worked. But again, none of them really kind of like knocked it out of the park with saying like, because I think most anthologies we can always say like, this is my favorite or that's my favorite. That kind of thing.
But with those, there's always turds. So see,
well,
that's
true
why
too.
I say that this one doesn't have. Yeah, there's always turds. Like there's always some that were like, that was poo.
There's always at least
but I can't say that there was any of these that were turds.
Well, I think if none of them had ended certain ways, I would say I could have easily said one of them was a turd. But I think because even the performance art thing I didn't like in the very beginning, because I hate performance art in general.
Yeah.
And although it did have the humor of like almost like Lawnmower Man stuff, and there's iPhone jokes and stuff. But then, then when then when stuff starts happening, and she things happen to her, I'm like, oh crap, okay, now you got me intrigued. So I think that's the thing. I think the way they kind of end it, or they create their little twist, or even just the ending to the whole copy thing, which just it's just very funny how, again, the copy thing of it, copying, because just a bit of watching exercise videos and how that kind of plays out, I just found very hilarious. So again, I think if none of them had that kind of cool ending or interesting ending, then I could easily said that like one stood out as the worst, but I can't really say. I think they kind of blend together in similarity, but at the same time, they don't really stand out as much as previous entries for me.
I did like how the episodes appeared to be taped over the documentary of whatever that
Rory.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay. Well, okay.
I enjoyed
and then I love how they're like, but the footage is too graphic, so we're not going to show it. And then it like, yeah, you better show that. It's wonderful. Like I think that this one was actually pretty funny though. Throughout, almost every segment had some humor, so I love that. Like, if you fart again, I'll kill you. Like Gigi's was funny at multiple points, and it made me crack. Oh, you Argentinians, we can't understand your Spanish. I was dead. I was like, really? I think that was really funny, and it was like funny, just bits here, and like the whole. Obviously, the ending is. Oh my God. Like that's the perfect 80s ending. It's ridiculous. Because, physical, the whole workout stuff is so hot. So hot.
Dave, you want to comment on any of the special effects, sir?
I think special effects were all great in these. We had to wait for a while. Christopher was just mentioning, like in that TKNOGD one. I mean, when that little whatever digital demon shows up and rips her skin off her leg and shit. I mean, that looked great. And still in No Wake too, when it blows the
jaw.
The
jaw. I was gonna say the jaw.
That all looked great. I really think the major problem with this was just kind of in the editing of it. The segments were, I think they all the segments could have been great if they just would have made it a little tighter.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of violence in the Derricksons. They're kind of hidden within the filmmaking aspect of it. But those are very and I love the part. They must have got a stunt person to be the guy that's being knocked all over the place. Because he was like falling on glass tables and stuff. Yeah. You would normally put an actor to do that. Yeah. So, but I think some of that stuff when it would show like chopping of fingers and different things, he did a pretty good job with the gore in that. So
choreography of the shootout in the hallway too. I thought was good.
Oh yeah.
That was
Very
really
good.
well done.
Integration
And the
of
effects of the
special
one-guys.
effects and
Yeah.
visual effects, because some of the gunshots you could tell were kind of a
Yeah.
visual effect.
Yeah, that's kind of a norm now, right?
Mm-hmm.
Based on things. All right, well, let's go
Yeah.
ahead. Yeah, let's go ahead and wrap this up. Let's give our score 1 to 5, and our favorite scene. Dave, back to the camera you go. What's your score and favorite scene?
I'm going to give us a 2.75. I really did like this. It's definitely worth watching. Just you know, be ready to slap yourself around a little bit to keep yourself awake. That's all. It pays off in the end. They all end really well. I mean, they really do. They all have good endings, and I like the ending of the. You know, of it as a whole, the whole thing after we see the transformation of, what was that thing's name? Rory, yeah. I thought that was all pretty satisfying as well. So I did like it. It just ran long for me. Like I said, 2.75. I'm going to go with my favorite scene because I was really kind of starting to tune out a little bit, but when the gun shooting in the boat starts, that definitely got my attention. So I'm going to go. It's not really a specific scene, I guess, but I guess when they realize they're being sniped, and all hell kind of breaks loose in the boat. That was for me is when I kind of like perked up and really got interested in things. So I'm going to go with that.
I like that. Crystal, you're up next. Give it to
I'm going to give it a 3.25. I might, maybe 3. I mean, 3.25. That's really where it should be.
Okay.
And I mean, God, I don't want to, but sorry, y'all. Like, obviously, it's the workout. I mean, I was not ready for that because it was really pretty. Okay, the the owner or whatever who's running this scientific thing, he's such a douche canoe. He's such a jerk. And poor Gary. I mean, come on. You're like, Gary, I don't want to do it. And I'm like, yeah, I wouldn't do it either, Gary. And then like when it like pans and you see him, I'm like, F this skin. That's so ridiculous. And I approve. So.
And you approve.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Excellent.
Approved by Crystal.
Christopher, you're going next. What is your score and favorite scene?
I guess I give it a 3.
Okay.
But I'll say, you know what? I'll say even though I didn't like, even though I like the beginning of it, I think when we get to the part with TKNOGD when they pull up her visor,
God,
you see her face and her eyes are like. It's so creepy and very effective. It was kind of the way that was created. It was really well done. So I think that kind of stood out to me.
Yeah, the audience starts clapping.
Yeah,
I love that they made it so how it moved so much and stuff, and how it was very effective. Yes.
Yeah.
Jeff, score favorite scene.
Well, I probably would have gave it a 3.25 after the first time I watched it.
Uh-oh.
And I thought all those same things about it. I kept thinking some of this stuff is just this takes so long. What is all this? I got mad at the doctor. Like you said, he's a real douche canoe. He keeps telling Gary, it's okay. I'll screw it. Let him go.
He's
not okay. He's got tentacles around him.
I know.
Okay.
He's squeezing his leg off. So anyway, but when I watched it the second time, I had no problems with the length, which is weird. Some of the stuff I felt took longer. I was like, geez, I thought they repeated that more. But anyway, so I'm giving it a 4.
Wow.
And I really like the concept of the no wake and the way that they kind of lull you into quietness and then have that all of a sudden people start getting shot by a sniper in a boat and you hear those sound effects of that.
Scary.
But my favorite scene, I already mentioned it. I'm going to say the shootout in the hallway with
very good.
So the ending
Dreamkill. And I like the concept of that too.
Dreamkill. I was
especially the way it came, what the kid tells his dad, when he comes back. I really like the ending of that one.
Because I know you're not going to kill me. Yep. I like that. I'm going to give it 3.5. Again, VHS. I like the series. I like found footage. I'm a sucker. My favorite scene, it's going to be when I realized that the second part of the wake was, or no wake was happening, and I realized they were connected. When you see the RV driving away,
I didn't get it then.
Yeah.
I didn't get it until the 7. Yeah,
the squirt gun in the
RV clued me in, because the RV, I thought, oh, there they are. This is them. And then how it goes from there, and I enjoyed that.
So what? Oh my God, I just got it again.
What's that?
Look, y'all, I've had a rough week, okay? Okay, like normally
I have too, but I still got it.
Like I've had but I didn't realize it was the squirt gun.
They pulled it up.
Is what?
Yeah, at the end of it, they showed him filling that squirt gun up with that.
Well, I saw that, but I thought it was actually like I thought somehow they had like put a gun there or something.
No, they squirted her with the lake water, so when she died.
Smart.
Where'd you get that squirt gun? The lady in the RV gave it.
Yeah, I know. That was like, oh. But then when we get the reversed perspective on what happened to them, I was like, oh man, that's just.
So what's up with the water? Like, what would have been awesome is if they had done like a Friday the 13th reference, because Jason died in a lake, and then what if he brought him back?
They were going with Creepshow 2, I think.
Yes.
Stephen King.
Yeah.
Well, there were a little bit of Stephen King with Pet Sematary, because they mentioned Pet Sematary, which Dave.
Well, right off the bat, I was really irritated that they saw that no wake sign, and then they went and ran their motor.
Created wakes.
Of course.
Just bad coding, man.
Exactly what they're going to do.
What's wrong with you guys?
All right. Well, there you go. That's our review of VHS 85, streaming on Shudder. We know you have Shudder. Check it out. Let us know in the comments down below what you think of the movie. Let us know what segment is your favorite segment. Let us know what your favorite scene is. Let us know if you want to see more.
Of course, everybody wants to see more.
Yes. Crystal, Jeff.
We're going.
Yeah.
I'll direct a segment.
Ah, there you go. Yes, he will. Yes, you will. Crystal, Jeff, Christopher, and Dave. Thank you for joining me.
Thanks for having us.
Good night, Doc.
The 80s rock.
I love it. Dave's just like, good night. I'm ready to go. Good night. All right, everybody. Let's say good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Have a good one.
Gruesome Magazine.